Everybody cooks rice. This is one by Norah Dooley, so it's star D-O-O for Dooley, because the D-O-O is the first three letters of the author's last name. Everybody cooks rice. My stomach was grumbling. Mom was cooking dinner and I couldn't wait to sit down and eat. Carrie, will you go out and find Anthony? Dinner's almost ready. Mom's always asking me to look for Anthony. He's my little brother, and he's such a moocher. If he's not playing ball or hopscotch, he's at a neighbor's house tasting their dinner. I walked outside and looked up and down the street, and I couldn't see Anthony anywhere, so I went over to Mrs. Darlington's house. Anthony and I call her Mrs. D. She's our next-door neighbor. Mr. and Mrs. D are from Barbados. It was Thursday, so their grandchildren, Sean and Stephanie, were over having their favorite dinner, black-eyed peas and rice. At the front door, I could smell fried onions and bacon. It made my mouth water. I ate a small cup of rice and black-eyed peas while Mr. D told stories about Barbados. People swim there and go fishing even in December. And suddenly I remembered I was supposed to be looking for Anthony. So I asked if anyone had seen him. Sean had said he'd seen Anthony going to the Diaz's house. So I went there next. When I walked into the kitchen, my friend Fendra Diaz and her little brother Tito were cooking dinner because their mom was working late. Tito was telling Fendra that she uses too much spice. And Fendra said Tito was checking the pot too often so that the rice and pigeon peas would never cook. And their teenage brother Jose told them to pipe down. He wanted to watch TV. So I looked in the pot to see what was cooking, and the rice was bright yellow. Vendra told me that her grandmother in Puerto Rico had taught her how to cook with turmeric, and turmeric makes the rice yellow. Tito gave me a taste from the cooking spoon. Oh boy, it was delicious. Then I asked if anyone had seen Anthony, and Fendra said Anthony had been there to taste their dinner, but had left to visit Dong. So I went across the street to Dong's house. There we go. Dong Tran came from Vietnam 5 years ago with his whole family, aunts and uncles and cousins and all. Dong's older sister, Tam, answered the door. Mr. and Mrs. Tran work late every day, so everyone else takes turns making dinner. It was Tam's turn to cook. She was busy making the garlicky, fishy sauce called mok chom, and she let me try some on rice. It was sweet and salty and sour. It tasted interesting. Later, when Mrs. Tran gets home, she'll make fried rice with peas. And then when Mr. Tran gets home, everyone will sit down and eat together. When I asked if anyone had seen my brother, Dong said Anthony had been helping Mrs. Wah and Mei Li with their groceries, and the Wahs live on the corner, so I started to walk up the street. Harry, wait! Someone called. It was my friend Brigitte. He was carrying 3 round metal boxes all clipped together, and something inside smelled delicious. So I asked him what it was. And Rajit said his parents were working at their video and gift shop, so he was bringing them leftovers in a tiffin carrier. There was a big party at the Krishnamurti's house last weekend, so Rajit's mother cooked a fancy, colorful Indian dish called biryani, and it's made with peas and cashews and raisins and lots of spices and a special kind of rice called biryani. Oh, special kind of rice called basmati rice. Oops. I had tasted biryani at Rajit's house the last time I went out looking for Anthony. When I told Rajit that I was looking for my brother again, he said he saw Anthony and Mei Li were blowing bubbles at a window at the Wah's house. The Wahs came from China about a year ago. Mrs. Wah is just learning how to speak English, and we smile at each other a lot. Mrs. Wah was steaming white rice for her family, and the boarder lives in the back room. She was also making tofu and vegetables in the wok. That's a big pan with a round bottom. Mrs. Wah always makes me sit down and eat something when I come over. Everyone at the Wah's house uses chopsticks. Mei Li, who's only 3.5 years old, can even pick up a single grain of rice with her chopsticks. Mei Li laughed at me when I tried using chopsticks and dropped some vegetables. She said Anthony was bye-bye, so I decided to try our backyard neighbors, the Blues. The Blues are from Haiti, and their cat had just had kittens, so Anthony wanders there a lot. Mrs. Blue teaches English at the community center, and we get to call her Madame Bleu. Madame Bleu speaks 3 languages, French, English, and Creole. When I walked in, Madame Bleu was making a Creole-style Haitian dinner. It had hot peppers, chives, red beans, and you guessed it, rice. Monsieur Bleu works 2 jobs, so he won't get home till late. Madame Bleu says the pot will stay on the stove and the rice will get tastier and spicier. Adeline and Jean-Marie Bleu come home for dinner on their break from after-school jobs at the grocery store, and they help themselves to bowls of rice and beans from the pot, and they gave some to me, and I thought my mouth was on fire. Jean-Marie teased me when I gulped some water. It was getting late, and I still hadn't found Anthony. Adeline said she'd seen him with a kitten in his arms climbing the fence to our yard, and I said thanks and au revoir, which means goodbye, and returned home. When I walked into the house, Anthony was showing the kitten to our baby sister, Anna. He was explaining to Mom that he was only borrowing the kitten. Mom was putting dinner on the table. Her grandmother from northern Italy taught our grandmother, who taught Mom how to cook risi e bisi, rice with green peas. And Mom puts butter and grated cheese and some nutmeg on it, and it smells so good. But my stomach wasn't grumbling anymore. I told Mom that I was too full to eat. Anthony said he wanted to eat his dinner, even though he was full, because he loves rice, and that he found out this afternoon that everybody cooks rice. And the great thing about this is a whole series of books, but they show you, they have recipes in the back that shows you everything that everybody cooked, which I thought was really pretty cool. So if you want to, you can make these recipes yourself. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you later.